You've probably heard of The Wild Robot, maybe seen it described as a modern classic, but is it a good choice for your child or classroom? This video is designed to help you evaluate this text to determine if it will fit your goals as a parent or educator. My name is Bethany from Enliven Lit, helping you raise thoughtful, engaged readers. Let's dive in. The Wild Robot by Peter Brown was published in 2016 by Little Brown Books. It's marketed for ages 8 to 11. My paperback edition contained 269 pages of novel, plus another 40 pages or so of bonus material, including a behind-the-scenes look at the illustrations and a preview of the sequel. The book is divided into 80 chapters, and one of the things that I think makes this a really accessible choice for a variety of contexts is that these chapters are very short and digestible. This means it will work well as a read-aloud text. It also means if kids are attempting to read it independently, they have short, achievable goals. They can tap out after a 2 or 3 page chapter without feeling too overwhelmed, but still having that satisfying feeling of accomplishment. Most chapters end on an interesting note, making it likely that kids will want to keep going. And the book also features beautiful illustrations. Peter Brown's black and white illustrations help set the tone and mood of the book. They also serve as attention hooks for kids who are struggling with that transition to illustration-free chapter books. The book's science fiction genre is great for kids who like to engage with imaginative scenarios, but the sci-fi isn't too over the top. Most of the story takes place on a remote island and features a robot adapting to survive and befriending a variety of animals. The plot begins with a shipwreck where many robots are lost at sea, but one survivor, Rosum 7134, or Roz for short, washes up on a forested island. In order to survive in the elements, Roz becomes increasingly wild, relying on her pre-programmed instincts for survival and her ability to learn and adapt to her surroundings. She spends a great deal of time observing the various animals and eventually learning how to communicate with them, building friendship and community. For instance, she gets help from the beavers to build her a shelter, help from the deer to plant a garden. She ends up adopting an orphaned gosling, giving her the opportunity to build family and learn how to be a mother. The relationship between Roz and the gosling named Brightwing is one of the strongest emotional arcs of the story, as Roz needs to support her son in becoming the best goose he can be, which means teaching him to fly and sending him away with the flock to fly south for the winter. Eventually, Tech Lab Industries, the company that built Roz, identifies where their lost cargo ship has ended up, and they send a team of robots to recover their assets. The book ends with a high-tension chase scene, where Roz and her animal friends need to escape and defeat the recon robots, and she needs to decide what to do next, now that she knows she's being hunted by her original owners. This story opens the door to some really interesting and frankly quite philosophical questions, like what does it mean to be human? What is a family? What is a community? And so on. Being set in the not-too-distant future, the novel also gives you a chance to discuss timely topics like climate change, technology, and artificial intelligence. I did want to raise a couple of content flags for potentially sensitive material. I want to note that I generally do not see content flags as a reason not to teach a text. In fact, quite the opposite. I think that literature is a wonderful way to engage with some of life's most difficult concepts. That being said, as a parent or educator, you should probably know about a couple of things. The book does contain a fair amount of discussion about death. There is a part of the beach that contains broken pieces of robots from the shipwreck that's referred to as the robot graveyard. There's an accident that kills a family of geese, which results in Roz adopting the remaining egg. And the darkest part of the book is the very cold winter in which some of the animals freeze to death. These scenes are quite sad and could be disturbing, particularly for a child who has had to deal with the loss of a loved one or pet. There's a small amount of gun-based violence. It isn't gory or gratuitous, but a goose is shot during the migration, and later the recon robots bring guns which are used during the chase scene. There's also a theme about family and adoption. When Brightwing realizes Roz is not his biological mother, which, honestly, little goose, you probably should have recognized it a little sooner, there's a bit of tension between them. In most cases, I don't think this will cause trouble for your readers, but if you happen to be working with kids who are part of adoption or foster situations, you should probably have the heads up that this is coming. So, final verdict. Honestly, I really liked this book, and I think most kids will too. The format is engaging and accessible. The plot is fast-moving, but manages to strike a balance where it's simple enough that the younger kids can follow what's going on, while dealing with complex enough themes that there's enough going on to keep even the more advanced readers engaged. I like that it suits both read aloud or independent reading, possibly giving you the option of using a combination of those formats if you like. And the ending, well, not to spoil it too much, but let's just say it will give you the chance to teach your kids what a cliffhanger is. Be prepared for your kids to want to track down the sequel to find out what happens next. And honestly, isn't that the best outcome? I love when a book makes a kid want to itch to read another book. Check out my next videos in the Wild Robot series to see how I would approach curriculum with this book. I'll be providing a guide for pre-reading, plus 3 additional videos with ideas for how to teach the beginning, middle, and end of the novel. Like and subscribe to support my channel and make sure you don't miss my future videos. At Enliven Lit, I want to help you raise thoughtful and engaged readers. Until next time, happy reading.